Happy New Year, everybody. Another edition of the MVC Hoop Shootaround is back here with you on MVCsports.com and the Missouri Valley Conference Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. My name is Derek Dockett, and of course, as always, I'm joined by Valley Player of the Year in 2008 and Academic All-American Adam Emnecker. And Adam, it's interesting. We're here to talk Valley basketball, and the Drake Bulldogs, jumping right into things, are doing things that they haven't done since you've been on the court for them.
And I'm not even twisting your arm this time. You know, you talked about a new year, 2018. So, of course, 2 weeks into conference play, everything's just like we expected it would have been in 2017, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not quite, with the Bulldogs kind of at the top, and then a cellar dweller that's a surprise for a lot of people as well that we'll get to in a minute. But how about a team that was pretty much the consensus number 10 overall in a 10-team league? They return a senior core, a lot of experience, but it's a group that never won really more than 5 conference games in their career, never had more than 9 in an entire season. They're already over that right now. They're at 10 wins. They got 4 wins in the conference, so I think it goes without saying they're looking to have the best conference record that this senior class has ever had during their tenure. They're leading the conference in points per game. They're playing an exciting style. They're making a lot of threes, leading the conference in assists, leading the conference in an assist to turnover rate. But I think the big difference for them has been the way they play defense. This is a team that's always been able to shoot the ball well and score in bunches, but right now they're getting stops when they need them, and that's something that Coach Nico Medved's really been harping on. That's been the soul of his teams going back to his days at Furman. He's really trying to instill that type of thought process and methodology. And just a quick note on 2 of the kids. Reed Timmer's having a fantastic senior year. He's making a lot of big plays down the stretch, hitting a lot of shots at the end of games. And he's also been a better distributor for this group, picking up more assists than he has in the past. He's showing on the conference leaderboards in terms of assists per game in conference play. And also Nick McGlynn, 13 points and 8 rebounds per game so far in MVC play. For them to have a guy on the inside playing that with that kind of efficiency and grabbing rebounds when they're bombing threes from the outside, it's really helped. So the Bulldogs have looked really strong, sitting at 4-0 alone at the top of the conference.
And getting attention, not just from us, but Andy Katz, who's now writing for NCAA and doing a lot of things for them on their website, has mentioned the Bulldogs a number of times as team to watch and games to watch. So keep an eye on the Bulldogs going down the stretch. We'll see how they can sort of maintain this momentum as the conference play continues. But right below the Bulldogs, 2 teams, them now 3-1, 2 teams that just went head-to-head this past Sunday, Illinois State, Missouri State. Illinois State getting a win in normal head-to-head with the Bears. But Alizé Johnson's been great. The Redbirds have some star power as well of their own, but those 2 teams, of course, we reckon with as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think just the introduction to the league for Illinois State and Malik Yarborough, to see him through 4 games, he's been really impressive. He had a little bit of a tough stretch when he played at Drake, when the Bulldogs just really played about as well as they could have against the Redbirds and really gave them all they could handle with a 20-plus point win. But Yarborough in MVC play, leading the conference in points per game and assists per game, and he's in the top 10 of rebounding. So if you want to know, does a guy have an impact on the basketball game, to see him tops in points, tops in assists, and then the top 10 in rebound is pretty impressive. It's really special what he does on the floor. And when you talk about star power from Missouri State, Alizé Johnson, I mean, the game he had against UNI, unbelievable, 24 points and 20 rebounds. Missouri State scored just over 60, and he had 24. The guy's scoring 40% of their points in a game. And to have 2 games of 20-20 in a season, I mean, we knew this kid was special, but Alizé Johnson's having an awesome year. 20 points, 14 rebounds per game so far in conference play. And, the other thing I think as I look at Missouri State that's interesting, so they have the headliner, right, and Alizé Johnson, but it's also the other guys. JT Miller, the graduate transfer from Howard, really starting to figure it out. He had 16 points, 11 rebounds in that game you mentioned against Illinois State. Russo creating, Kreklow knocking down shots, and Scurry really giving them great minutes off the bench. So I think what's really cool about Missouri State is they have these 8 or 9 guys playing 15, 20 minutes a game, and any one of them can step up on any given night and play second fiddle to Alizé Johnson. That's what makes him dangerous.
Yeah. And finally, we know it's early in conference play, four games in for the most part for everybody, but you never know how these standings will play out. But I'm curious to get your opinion. If these standings were, now some people think of it as being upside down with Drake at top and UNI now 0-4. No one saw that coming. But
right.
How do you think this plays out now? Anybody you think might turn it around, and who to watch as we get deeper into conference play?
Listen, just don't let the record fool you for the Panthers. 0-4, they're still a team that no one wants to play. I mean, part of what they've struggled with, they're a top 10 right now defense in the country in points against. Part of that's their pace, but part of it is Ben Jacobson really has those kids playing defense like he always does. What they're struggling with is consistency on the offensive end. And we've seen this out of Carlson and Cook, that those guys have huge upsides, but they've lacked some of the consistency in terms of scoring on the offensive side and being able to shoulder that load. If there's one thing I'm not worried about, it's Ben Jacobson as a coach making adjustments and getting his team on the right track once we get to March. But, man, to see them at an 0-4 start, that's really tough to see. Expect them to crawl up those standings as the season moves along. And a team they just got done playing as well. Loyola probably had the best non-conference win in the MVC so far with that win on the road against Florida. Injuries kind of derailed them for a little bit, but now they're starting to get healthy again. Custer's back, had a pretty good game against UNI, so expect them to climb up and be near the top of the conference, as well as at least the Panthers to get a lot more competitive than 0-4.
All right, we got a long way to go for this race is all decided, of course, just now in early January. But we'll see how it plays out. It's been a fun start and an unexpected start. So that's the Valley in a nutshell. You know it just as well as I do, that this league has always got some unexpected things happening.